Okay, that's good. Yay, I'm recording.
Did I talk throughout the video? Or?
Yeah, you talked throughout the video. It's okay.
Okay.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a gold cut crease eyeshadow tutorial. I wore this a couple videos back in one of my Boxycharm videos, and I had a lot of you asking for a tutorial on how to do that look. And so here I am. Sorry it took me so long to get to it. Now this is a very simple look. I only used a minimum number of products. It's not one of those where you have to have 12 products to create one eye look. I'm not that kind of person, so I'm not going to make that kind of tutorial. First off, I'm going to show you everything that I'm going to be using to create this eye look. I'm going to be using the ColourPop You Had Me at Hello palette. If you have anything similar to it, you don't have to have this exact palette. Just make sure you have a good transition color, something to deepen the crease, and then a super dark color that we're going to use lightly. We're not going to go crazy with it, I promise. Just use that to deepen the crease and to work a little bit here on the outer edge. Now then I'm going to be using the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer to cut the crease. You don't have to have this one specifically. This color is not a good shade for me. It is horrible, in fact. It's way too light, but it's good for doing eyeshadows. So I'm going to be using that to cut the crease. And the feature in this video, this I got in my Ipsy Glam bag, my first bag ever. And this is a pigment from Naked Cosmetics, and this is the shade, well, it just says heavy metal and then hashtag HE03. If it doesn't show up, I'll just include a picture of it. Now, that is basically the products you're going to use for the eyeshadow look. I am going to use 3 brushes for this look. This one is just a Morphe brush. It doesn't have a number on it. It's just a fluffy angled brush that I'm going to use to spread out the concealer. I have a fluffy blending brush from Wet n Wild. I start off every one of my eye looks with this brush. This one is one of my favorites. And I have another Morphe brush that unfortunately doesn't have a name on it either, and it's crazy. This is just more of a pencil detail brush, but the reason I like this over a few of my other detail brushes, this one is very precise, but the brushes, there's a lot of movement, there's a lot of bend in them, so it makes it easier if you want to fluff up the crease. And if you want to, although it's not necessary, get you a setting spray or a spritz of water or something. That way, because of the pigment, it will kind of help make it a lot easier to use. This one I had a lot of success with not actually using any kind of setting spray, so this is just for if you want to create this look and you're having, maybe you want to make sure that you don't make a mess with it and you've already done your foundation, because that pigment is going to go everywhere. I don't have anything on my face right now. I'm not going to have anything on until afterwards. I'm just prepared for it. Alright, and without further ado, guys, I'm going to remind you to smash that subscribe button, become part of the Wolf Pack today, and let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, and to start things off, I'm going to go ahead and take my Shape Tape Concealer, and I'm going to put a little bit all over the eyelid, just to make sure I cancel out any veins in my eyes and to act as a base for your eyeshadow. And I'm going to go in with my Morphe brush and just to blend this out. And I have found that I actually really like this brush. It almost sets it while you're blending it out. And you want to take it down a little bit too also on the sides. And you'll see, I mean, this is obviously not the right color for me, but I didn't want to exchange it because at the time I had traveled out of town to get it, and I would rather just use it in another way, just repurpose it other than just exchanging it. Because I have found a couple of other concealers that I really like for my under eyes. Now I'm not going to set it with anything. Instead, I'm going to go ahead and go straight into my eyeshadow palette. And I'm going to go in with this rosy shade here. It looks a little bit more neutral in the pan, but for some reason it pulls pink on me. And I'm going to go with my fluffy brush. And now the first part, don't worry about trying to be a perfectionist. Don't worry about trying to keep everything clean, especially if you don't have your foundation on. Also, if you already have your foundation on, you can add some extra setting powder down here just to catch any of the fallout and keep it from messing up your face. But we're just going here with our fluffy brush and just place this into your crease. And with this shade, I do go a little bit higher up, closer to your brow bone. And another thing also, whenever you're doing cut creases, make sure that you're carrying the shade far enough in so that whenever you go to cut the crease here in the center, you still have some of that darker shadow left behind to create more of a definition. And anything that you do mess up, you can always go back and use your foundation, your concealer, to clean it up afterwards. Now, depending on your skin tone, you may want to go in with different shades to change it up a little bit. This is just the look that I created specifically for that video. And you want to make sure you spend your time blending this out. And you want to add color slowly because it's a lot easier to add more shadow in than it is to take it away. Okay, now for that look, because this color does pull a lot more rosy on my skin tone, I'm going to dip into this shade right here. It's a little bit more of a yellow undertone and it kind of balances out for me. And make sure you tap off your brush to get off the excess. And we're just going to, whenever you're blending your eyeshadows, make sure that you're keeping your finger here towards the bottom. That way it puts less pressure on the brush and you can do more, you can blend it out a lot easier. Okay, so now we're going to switch it up and we are going to go into this darkest shade right here, which does look a little bit scary if you're not used to doing cut creases or to building up the crease color in your eyeshadow. But this, you want to make sure your brush, you just tap it. Make sure you just tap your brush in here and knock off as much of that excess as you can. You don't want to have too much on the brush because, again, it's easier to add than it is to take it away. And this kind of color can totally change it really, really quickly. Now, those of you who have hooded eyes, you're going to do this a little bit differently than those who don't. Those who don't have hooded eyes, you can look down in your mirror and you can see where your crease is and you can just lightly pack it in there. But if you have hooded eyes like me, it's actually easier to look dead ahead into your mirror. And this brush here, you're going to place it just up above where your crease is. And you're just going to barely tap it in. And what we're doing is creating an outline. We're moving your crease up a little bit, that way you can see more of your eyeshadow whenever you look around. So we're just going to lightly place that color and make sure you carry it in. And see there, you've got your outline for your cut crease. Okay, now we're going to go back into that fluffy brush and we're just going to blend this out. Don't worry about it getting on your eyelid. It is going to look really, really messy until the end. That's just how cut creases are. If you do a spotlight or a half cut crease, that's just how it is in general. So don't be afraid. And again, keep pressure here at the bottom. Hold your brush there so it has a light pressure, and you're just going to blend those two shades in together. Now, another thing about eyeshadow, if you're going to a little bit more of a smoky eye, you want to make sure you take your time layering that color. So I'm going to dip back in to the first shade right here. I'm going to put some more of that on my brush, and I'm going to use that to blend out that darker color. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to start deepening the outer corner of your eyes. Now I'm going to go into this darkest shade here. Sorry, I'm gonna go into that darkest shade right here. And again, using your pencil brush, I'm gonna load up the brush and tap off the excess. And this is where, if you hadn't prepped your under eye area, if you already had your foundation on, this is where you're gonna make a lot of mess. You're going to take this and just pat it into the outer corner, looking down into your mirror. And you're going to go in with your fluffy brush and just barely blend this out, because we're going to be putting our concealer over this in just a second. And I apologize, I'm a dummy. I forgot to say in the beginning of this video, you also need a concealer brush or something like it to actually do the cut crease with. So you need this brush, because we are now to cut in the crease. So we're going to take some of that concealer. We are going to coat the brush both sides with it. And you're going to put it onto your eyelid. And you want to be kind of generous with it. Don't go light-handed, not too much with it. Just make sure you've got a good amount onto your brush. And you're going to take it to almost where we darken the outer corner. And you can use that where we deepen the crease, you can use that as your guideline if you don't have hooded eyes. If you do have hooded eyes, what we're going to do, pack the color on there. And then you're going to open your eyes and look up. What that does, it stamps the color up into where your crease is, and that's going to create your natural guideline. And you just fill it in with concealer. If you're not happy with the shape, you can go ahead and go a little bit beyond that, but for me it's just easier to just go ahead and follow the crease that I created. And you want to make sure that the brush you're using is you don't want to use a fluffy brush, you want to use something that's a little bit flatter so it's easier to press the concealer into the crease. Now, one thing a lot of people do with cut creases, they will actually bring the concealer farther in and upward, especially in the inner corners. That way it opens up the eyes and makes them look bigger, but I don't. I'm still practicing at doing that, so I'm not up to that level yet. This is just what I've learned so far. But I am going to smooth out the inner corner. Okay, again, sorry. Guys, wow, I thought I had everything together to do this look. I had totally forgotten about actually doing the crease. You also need you also need to take your flat brush, and this is just for packing on the pigment. Now, this little container, I love the packaging, by the way, it's really cute. This, you don't really want to go, I'm going to try to show you without dipping it. You don't want to go straight into that with your brush because that will actually make a mess. You can get too much product on your brush. So what I'm actually doing, because so much of this comes off on the lid, I'm just going to use what's actually here instead. And I'm going to dip my brush into that. It's a lot easier to control. It's a lot easier to control whenever you have a small amount. And I'm not going to go in with a wet brush because last time I didn't have to. It's only if you want to. It does make it a little bit easier to control. But the pigment, I found that it works really, really well without having to do that. And you're going to load up your brush with it. You're going to look down into your mirror and you're just going to pack that color on. It's going to look a little bit messy. You are going to have some fallout. But just take your time with it. Place it onto your eyelids. Now one tip, if you need more of this pigment back on the lid, just go ahead and close it back up and flip it over and just tap it and it packs it back on that lid again for you. Also left a weird indentation. There we go. You can go a little bit lighter with a different color in the inner corner if you want to brighten it up some more, but in that particular look, I just took gold all over it, all the way in to the inner corner. And the fallout is going to be worse here in the inner corner, so if you want to wet your brush for that, I'm totally okay for it because some of that got into my eye. Yeah, I'm just going to have gold down here for a minute, but I'll clean that up before I do the rest of my makeup. And now that we're to the outer edge, just go ahead and blend that into that darker color. And to get some of that definition back into the outer corner of your eye, you can dip back into that dark shade with your brush. And just press it, just blend it very, very slightly on the outer edge. Okay, so that is the shadow done on one eye. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other eye and go ahead and do my liner, mascara, and the rest of my makeup, and I will be right back. Okay, and now I am back. I went ahead and got the rest of my face makeup done. Got eyeliner and mascara on the upper lash line. Okay. Alright, so now we're going to finish up the lower lash line. I'm going to try using the fluffy brush again because the other one has that really, really dark shade on it. So this is the one time it would be kind of useful to have another brush. But we're going to go in with, I'm just going to dip into both of these shades at the same time, and I'm going to try to stay as close to the lower lash line as I can. This brush isn't ideal for it, but we are going to make it work, hopefully.
There's a guy over there where I will. Watch out for him.
It's okay. It could be better. I can't really tell. I don't have a monitor to look in. I just have the little lens on my camera over here at the side, but my ring light is almost blinding it to where I can't really see what's going on in there. So we're just going to assume everything's okay. Okay, I had to do it. I had to get another brush because that's just not working for me.
Hey guys.
So I like to take the color, with this look, I took the color all the way in, just the light shades. Whenever we go to the dark shades, they're going to stay more on the outer corner.
I thought that was one of us. Damn. Sorry guys.
Okay, so now we're going to go back into the darkest shade and we're going to put just the tiniest bit on your brush and make sure you tap off all that you can. And this time we're going to stay closer to the outer corner and barely bring it in.
Just tap it out.
And now also pull the color a little bit further up the inner, or also take the color up a little bit further, because the purpose of this is to connect the lower lash line to the upper lash line. So you're just going to connect that V. Okay, and to highlight the inner corner, I didn't really use another color from the eyeshadow palette, which you can do, but what I did that day, I just like to take my highlighter that's on my face, I put it on the brow bone, and I put it in the inner corner just to kind of unify the look together. And today I used my Hourglass palette, which is really, really pretty, and I used the strobe shade right here. So I'm going to take the brush that I used to pack on the gold shade, and I'm going to tap off as much of that pigment as I can. And I'm just going to dip into this. I don't really mind using the same shade whenever you do something like this, or the same brush. If it has a little bit of that gold in it, it's okay. But for our hooded eye girls, make sure you keep the highlight as close to the eyebrow as you can. Now if you used a more intense highlight, then you're going to get a better payoff on it, but this palette is something that's a little bit more subtle, kind of more of the lit from within look, so it's not very intense at all. And if you want a little bit too intense with that brow bone highlight, you can go back in with your fluffy brush that you use for your transition and just blend up into that, and it'll make it flawless again, make it seamless. It'll kind of, what this will do, it'll kind of tone down the highlight that you put on there, just to make sure that you can put it exactly where you want it. Okay, and for lips, what I use today is just a favorite of mine that I've had for a while, and this is actually a sample size. It is the Smashbox V Legendary Lipstick, and this is in the shade Primrose. Love this shade. I think I wore something a little bit different. I think that day I wore one of my Maybelline All Stay or lip ink, whatever they're called. I think that's what I used that day. But today I thought I would just warm it up a little bit more and put this on, and I had went hard on this. Yeah. Most of my lipsticks, you know, they kind of keep that slant in there. This one, it's almost gone because I have used this so much. This is one of my absolute favorite shades. If you buy any of their sampler kits, a lot of times this is the shade that comes in there from Smashbox. So just a little tip if you want to try it out for yourself and get a few other products, is a good way to do that. Okay, and to finish it off, you want to make sure you put your mascara on your lower lash line also. And look at the packaging on this. The Climax mascara, I love this. Oh, almost forgot. That day I also used eyeliner. I didn't go for anything super intense. I kind of wish I had gone brown maybe all around to keep it a little bit more warmer all over. But that day I used a brown eyeliner from Jean to Bleu. Jean to Bleu, yes. And I put this one, I don't normally line my waterline, but this time I did, and I liked it. But I only took it in about halfway and I stopped. Okay guys, so there is the final look. This is everything that I did that day. I'm sure there's a couple of things that are a little bit different because I don't remember, you know, what exact foundation I wore, what exact highlight I wore. I know the lippy, I'll have to go back and look at the video because I think I mentioned it, but the other two products that I had, I definitely reused again. And the eyeliner, I'm one of those people, I can go with eyeliner or without. And one thing I do want to say is you're not going to see me doing wing eyeliner looks on this channel. Because I have hooded eyes, and I know people with hooded eyes can do them, but I have a lot of, my skin isn't as, I don't know how to describe other than saying that skin is loose on my eyelids, and every time I try to take an eyeliner pen and pull it across to do the wing eyeliner, it skips. it just does. It's one of those things that I have to deal with, but just a little heads up there. If you're interested in doing a wing eyeliner tutorial, if you don't have any the same issues that I do, a couple of good people to look at is Katie at Luster Lux. She's excellent. Same thing with her friend Desi Perkins. She does really good. Both of them are really talented at their makeup, and if you want to see things like that, then go for it. But for me, it's just something, a thing that I have learned over my time on YouTube and doing makeup on different people and things like that, is that you have to do more what works for you. Not everyone's face is the same. The face shape, obviously skin tones are different, but your eyes are shaped differently as well. And that was something that I took an interest in, and I did a little bit more research trying to figure out what works best for me. And my eye game, there are things that I know that don't work, and I've just stopped trying, and I've been a lot happier with my makeup. Alright, well, that is everything that we have to talk about today. Guys, if there's any other kind of eye looks you want me to check out, or if you have any eyeshadow palettes that you're interested in me trying out, I still am working on the Norvina palette. I used that several times and then I put it away. I haven't touched it for a little bit, and I need to come back to it and do a couple other looks with it. I'm thinking about buying the, speaking of Katie and Desi Perkins, I'm thinking about buying the Friendcation palette, hopefully before it sells out. I have a 20% coupon, and that's pretty much the only time I can buy stuff like this is when it's on sale. But alright, I hope you guys have a great day. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!